All right, Patriots, can move on to page 2. And just like in the video before for page 1, we're going to do this whole thing in one video. And so if you want to skip around, then just go ahead and look down there at the bottom in the description. And I've got the starting times listed for each problem. So number 10, which of the following is true for all rectangles? All right, diagonals are perpendicular. Well, that's one of our properties for a rhombus, so that's not going to work. Diagonals bisect the angles. Again, that's a property for a rhombus. That one doesn't work. Consecutive sides are congruent. Well, sorry, just trying to draw a rhombus. So for a rectangle, consecutive sides are congruent would mean that these two side by side are equal to each other, which again doesn't exactly make sense for a rectangle because your length and width can be different. Once again, that's a rhombus property. However, it says consecutive sides are perpendicular would mean that these two came in at 90-degree angles, which that one is true. So our answer is D. Number 11. We've got GHJK is a rhombus, which tells me that all those are equal. Wants me to find the measure of angle 1. Well, one of those properties we talked about actually up before was that it's going to the diagonals bisect the angles. That means that these two are equal, meaning that that is 22 degrees. We also know that the diagonals are perpendicular, meaning that that one's 90 degrees. So to find the measure here of angle KGJ, we're going to subtract 90 and 22 from 180. So 180 minus 90 minus 22 gives me that this angle is 68 degrees. And since angle KGH is also bisected by the diagonal, that means angle 1 is perpendicular to KGJ. So this one is also 68 degrees. Our answer is C. All right, number 12. The diagonals of square ABCD, I'm going to go ahead and draw that here. ABCD intersect at point E. So we got point E here. And it says if AE is 2x plus 6 and BD, which is there, is 6x minus 10, we want to find AC, which is a full distance of the entire diagonal. Now remember that for all parallelograms, the diagonals are going to bisect each other, so each half of the diagonal is going to be equal. But for a rectangle, which also applies to a square, the diagonals are equal. What that means is that all four of these pieces, when those two properties are taken together, all four of those pieces are equal to each other. So I can set these two equal to, 6x minus 10 equals 2x plus 6. My job is to get all of the variables onto one side.
Attention please. Connor Crowe, you're needed to the front office, please. Connor Crowe, you're needed to the front office, please.
All right, Connor Crowe, if you're listening to this video on YouTube, disregard that because that happened at some other time. All right, so we're going to get x's on one side, subtract 2x from both sides, leaves me 4x on the left. We're going to add 10 on both sides to get rid of this one. That gives me 4x equals 16. Divide both sides by 4, leaves me with x equals 4. Now, to find AC, what I'm going to do is plug in my 4 here. 2 times 4 plus 6. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 6 is 18. So this side is 18, this side is 18. Together, 18 plus 18 is, wait. I messed it up. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 6 is not 18, it's 14. All right, so 14 plus 14 is 28. Answer is G. All right, 13. For the isosceles trapezoid, MNOP, we want to find the measure of angle MNP, which is MNP, this angle here. All right, our isosceles trapezoid, we know that our angles are congruent essentially. Base angles are congruent. Essentially, we have a line of symmetry that goes down the middle through the intersection of the diagonal. That means that this angle is 36. So this angle MPN is also 36 degrees. Now, since these two are parallel, we can think of line NP as a transversal line, means that this angle PNO is alternate interiors with NPM, so it is also 36 degrees. Let's see, what else could we do to find that angle there? Oh, yes, since we know that, ONM and MMP, these two angles must add to 180 degrees, I could subtract 36, 44, and 36 from 180 to be left over with MNP. So 180 minus 36 minus 44 minus 36 leaves me with 64 degrees here, which is option G. All right, now number 14. The length of one base of a trapezoid is 19. Let's go ahead and draw my trapezoid. The base of one base is 19. The median is 16. Find the length of the other base. I'm going to go ahead and call that B. Remember that our formula for the median of a trapezoid is that M equals 1/2 times B1 plus B2. We're going to let this B be the B1. Median is 16 equals 1/2 times B1 plus B2 is 19. Now we're going to distribute the 1/2. That leaves me with 16 equals 1/2 B1 plus 19 times 1/2. I'm blanking out. I'm just going to do them at calculator. 9.5. We are now going to subtract 9.5 on both sides. Leaves me with 6.5 equals 1/2 B1. Now to get rid of a 1/2, we're going to multiply by 2. Those cancel there. So 2 times 6.5 is going to be 13. Answer is D. All right, number 15. For kite PQRS, find the measure of angle S. I'm going to put an X there and angle S. Now remember that for a kite, we've got this line of symmetry that goes down the long diagonal. So this is going to be X as well. The total angles inside of a parallelogram are 360. So I'm just going to subtract these from 360 and then divide by 2. If you need the entire formula for that, 22 plus 90 plus 2x equals 360. Add those two together is 112 plus 2x equals 360. Subtract 112 from 360, and I get 2x equals 248. Divided by 2 is x equals 124. So measure of angle S is D. Now 16 is one that can be a little bit tricky at first. ABCD is a parallelogram with these coordinates. To prove that it's a rectangle, you would plot the parallelogram on a coordinate plane. So I'm not going to do a full sketch here. I'm just going to make it roughly there. So 4, 2 is A, 4, -1 is B, -2, -1 is C, and -2, 2. All right, so we would have this parallelogram. We would plot the parallelogram and then find which of the following. Okay, we're going to prove that it's a rectangle. So let's see, the angle of the diagonals, that's not really going to help me out much. Slopes of the diagonals, again, isn't really going to help me much. Lengths of the diagonals, however, is important because that's one of the properties of my rectangle. Again, midpoints of the diagonals doesn't help me out because there's no special properties about the lengths of each piece of the diagonal. So G is my important key there. Number 17, the sum of the interior angles of an octagonal box. For an octagonal box, that means N equals 8. So the sum of my interior angles is 180 times N minus 2, which is 180 times 8 minus 2. And so 180 times 8 minus 2, 1,080. 1,080 degrees. Number 18, convex pentagon is an interior angle with these 5 measures. Find the value of x. Okay, first off, we need to know the sum of the interior angles, which is 5 minus 2 times 180. You can run that through a calculator if you want to. I have that one memorized. It's 540 degrees. Then we're going to add all of these together. 5x minus 12 plus 2x plus 100 plus 4x plus 16 plus 6x plus 15 plus 3x plus 41. All of that together equals 540. Now we're going to combine our like terms. 5x and 2x is 7x. That makes 11x, makes 17x, and that makes 20x. And now let's go ahead and put the rest of these together. Let's see, negative 12 and 100 makes, well, you know what? Let's just do it this way. Negative 12 plus 100 plus, next is 16 plus 15 plus 41 gives me 160 equals 540. Now we're going to subtract the 160. 20x equals, let's see, 540 minus 160 is 380. Then divide both sides by 20, and I get x equals 19.